you can have every bit of sales knowledge you want, but if you don't have the confidence to display that, to transfer that energy to your customer, it's pointless.
Inspiring you to reach your goals and live your dream. This is the Keaton Nelson Show.
Alrighty, guys, I have an amazing treat for you today. Corey Berrier is going to be on the podcast, and he is a subject matter expert when it comes to selling shit, basically, right, brother?
That's right.
Man. Well, thank you so much for being on the podcast. I'm excited to have a conversation with you, man.
Yeah, dude. Well, thanks for having me on. This is going to be cool because guess what? You're the first show I've been on since my book hit #1 bestseller. So
no shit.
Yep.
I feel honored, man.
Yeah, dude. It's the first interview I've done since I launched the book, which I'm pretty excited about. And I didn't do the interview for that reason, but timing, I guess, is everything. And when you're, when things start coming together, it makes it all worth it. It's funny, actually, because I was just writing this person a message as you clicked in.
Yep.
And I was feeling a lot like her recently, about 2 weeks ago, just completely burnt out because dude, like there's a lot of work that goes on when when you do a podcast, when you put this book together. I just spoke at Podfest and you're juggling clients. You got like other businesses, right? So it's frustrating sometimes. And guess what? There are days that you want to burn it straight to the ground because it feels like no matter what you do, things are going to go sideways. And I'll just say, if there's anybody out there listening to this right now, things always look up, right? But you got to keep looking up for the rest of the stuff to fall into place. And that's my experience.
Yeah, 100%. That's cool. You spoke at Podfest and everything. I know it was probably like a pain in the ass to mix it into everything, but that's still really cool, man. Well, where was that located again?
It's in Orlando, Florida. It's the world's largest podcast like conference. Like it's a pretty big deal.
No, I saw like shit all over social media about it and stuff. I was like, dang, I wish I knew about that. I probably would have showed up. But
it was cool.
No, that's awesome, man. And I want to talk about this book a little bit because it's kind of a hot topic. #1 bestseller. It'd be kind of funny if it didn't sell too well and you're the guy who sells shit,
That's a very good point. But I can't really. Well, I suppose that's not true. You can't control it. You could pour $1 million into the book and sell, gazillion copies, but I don't know that that's profitable.
Oh, it definitely isn't. But yeah,
right.
It's cool, man. It's awesome. What is it? Is it 9 steps to how to sell shit? What you tell me?
Yeah. So it's 9 simple steps to sell more shit. And look, the book is based on how I work with people. It's the framework that I designed to walk people through a simple way of creating a successful ending in their sales process. And if people go listen or go watch, listen, read the book, dude, it's like 50 pages. Like you can read it in half an hour. Like it's nothing. So, but I did it for a reason. I did that for a reason because I'm ADHD and I don't like to read long stuff. And so I wrote the book for people like me. All right.
I'll tell you what, this is what I'm going to do real quick before you go on into it a little bit more. Guys, if you're listening to the podcast, I'll do something special. I don't know how much it costs, but I'll buy like 30 copies. The first 30 people to send me a DM on at the Keaton Nelson Show on Instagram. I'll go ahead and buy you a copy. Just send me your address. Last time I bought books, I got it shipped to my house and I have to ship it out. I'd rather just buy it from Amazon and ship it to you. So just tell me what your address. I'll buy it for you. If you guys want to get this thing, you don't have to spend a dime. I'll do it for you.
Dude.
Yeah,
that's incredible. So here's the great news. It's $1.99. So that was a good deal for you.
Oh, that's a great deal. The last one cost me like $300. That's right. Yeah.
Oh, that's too good, dude. But yeah, that's really cool. I appreciate you doing that. That was really awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. So everyone, whoever's listening, for sure, man. But what are the 9 simple steps? Can you break it down a little bit for us?
Yeah. So absolutely. So I want to talk about the first one because it's the one that's really it's the one that gets you started. And the reason I put emphasis on this first one, which is confidence, is because you can have every ounce of, you can have every bit of sales knowledge you want, but if you don't have the confidence to display that, to transfer that energy to your customer, it's pointless.
Right.
And I went through that. About almost 4 years ago, where, I mean, I had been in sales, all kinds of different industries at that moment, 21 years, and had worked with people all over the world. But I had my business, what felt like, ripped out from under me. And I'm not going to go into that long ass conversation, but either way, I had to start over. And so my confidence was completely shot. Yep. The other side of that confidence thing is I was made fun of as a kid, and I was called fat and asked if I needed to wear a bra. So there was a lot tied into that particular step. So that's the first step. Knowing your customer is the second step.
Okay.
Successful prospecting is the third step. Discovery method, where you got to ask great questions, right? Great questions.
Dude, I preach that. I'm like, how can you sell something that you don't even know that they have a problem that you can solve with either your product or service? You gotta, like, people just go on and start telling people about their product or service.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Product benefit, and feature dump is basically like, oh, my solar system has X, and they list off all these stupid things. Customers don't care about that. They don't give a shit. No, dude. So, and when you're and you can get so much further with a lot less talking. Like, you just have to say a couple of words to get the person to keep on talking. But you got to do it the right way.
Right, dude. You get someone talking, man, they won't stop. You know, a lot of people don't have the opportunity to do that. That's good, man. So discovery questions, you gotta have good discovery questions.
That's right. So we help you craft the perfect offer. So, it doesn't matter how good the product or service is. If it doesn't appeal to the customer, they're not going to buy it. Right.
Right.
And then we go through objection crusher is the name of the step. Nice. We do our closing method, effective follow-up, and then scale your business. So the truth of the matter is, it encompasses all the steps that really a business owner or a salesperson needs. And I'm not saying so. And I built it that way for a reason, because I don't really like being pigeonholed necessarily into one industry. However, my industry that I focus on are the trades, right? Construction sales. So that could be plumbers, that could be HVAC guys, that could be roofers, that could be movers. It doesn't matter. If they're in a trade, I've been extremely successful helping those guys. Nice. And that's why I focus there. And I'm getting ready to launch the tradeschools.com. People can go to that, and you're going to find that that's where my group coaching program is going to be for tradesmen. And I'm going to coach these guys on how to connect with their customers better and how to close more deals.
Nice, man. That's awesome. I do want to get into, like, where you came from, your background and stuff like that, because that stuff's important. That stuff's enjoyable to listen to and get into, because we see we're all human and stuff. But before we dig into that, you mentioned crushing objections, right? Like, yes, dude, I still struggle. Every salesperson struggles with this, right? They got it at least some point. So could you give us a little taste, a little value here? Like, I don't know, like, I'm just looking, or I got to talk to my wife, or how do you handle these things? What's your approach? Because you know what, you listen to 5 different people, you're gonna get 5 different answers on how to respond to objections, So my strategy is this: I don't know why people are overcoming objections when they're overcoming objections. Let me explain what I mean by that. Okay.
So I set expectations. Like, if you and I were going to sit down on a call, I'd say, Keaton, we're going to go the way this call is going to go. We have a half an hour. You still have a half an hour, right? You would say yes, or you would say no, and that conversation would go a different way, right? Or so let's just pretend you said yes. Great. So Keaton, in this conversation, what we're going to do is we're going to go through and we're going to talk about some of the issues that you're having. We're going to talk about what your budget looks like for these issues. And then we're going to talk about what we're going to do to fix them. At the end of this, Keaton, the answer is going to be a yes or a no. Maybes waste my time and they waste your time. Does that make sense, Keaton? Is anything about that unclear?
No, that makes sense.
Excellent.
Beautiful.
So, and then we dive into it, and I make sure that, well, before you start all that process, you got to make sure everybody's there, right? You got to have. If you go into a half cock, you're going to get a smokescreen question. So just know that. If you don't ask for all the decision makers because you're scared, because you don't want the big guy to be there, guess what? You're wasting your time because the big guy makes the decisions.
Yeah, that's it. That's awesome. That's good. You're right. Like you should be framing it up. Like objections shouldn't come up. You've already dealt with them, right? Is that what you're saying?
That's it. But I'm going to tell you, I'm going to give you a real-time way to handle objections. Yeah. So let's just say to me, you said, Corey, everything sounds really good, but I'm going to need to think about it. And I would say to you, Keaton, let me ask you something. If everything sounds good, you have all the information here, and I've showed you the cars on the lot. I have the car that you're wanting to buy. I have all the information. What is it you need to think about? You can't find anybody with any more information than standing right here. And Keaton, I got the keys to all the cars.
That's right.
Right. So, and that's a way of doing it. My mic's falling.
No, you're good. Yeah.
I think I'm going to get this. So, but here's another way is mirroring. Right. And I don't know. Okay. I'm unscrewing the wrong one. Hang tight.
No, you're good, man. You're good. These things happen. We don't edit over here. This is life, guys.
Yep, it is life. And you know what? I love that. I love that you don't edit it because this is what, you're right. This is what happens.
Yeah, man.
So anyway, so this is what I would say. And you've heard this, I'm sure of it, is mirroring, right? So if you say to me, Corey, like, I'm just not sure I want to move forward today. You're not sure you want to move forward today?
That's good.
Right? Catch this. You're going to love this. So the last time I spoke at Podfest, year before last.
Yeah.
And the lady in the audience, because everybody thinks mirroring is they're going to get caught. Everybody thinks they're going to get caught. And this lady is like, she ready? I knew this question was coming. And she said, well, I don't really understand how I'm going to do that without being caught. I said, without being caught? So like 3 times I did it live on the stage in front of the whole, and it was beautiful because I completely bombed that talk. It was awful. It was painful to listen to, but the end of it, I crushed because and it was from the help, because the lady helped me out by asking that question. She set me up perfectly. So it was really cool.
That's awesome. These are skills that it's the issue is like you don't learn them once. What I've noticed, right? Like I read, what's the Black Swan guy?
Chris Voss.
Yeah, exactly. Chris Voss, Never Split the Difference. And he talks all about this, right? And he does a great job explaining it. I went through it a few times. I thought I retained all of it. And today, after a few years of not reading it, or a couple of years or whatever it came out, and then you bring it up, I'm like, I completely forgot about mirroring. I think there's a lot of practice that needs to happen for salespeople and consistency over long periods of time, because I completely forgot about these techniques and things like that. That they make a big difference. They really do. When you have those tools in your tool belt, it makes a big difference for sure. That's good, man.
I'm a huge fan of Chris Voss. Huge fan.
Yeah, his stuff's great. Absolutely. So yeah, let's dig into the past a little bit. So you grew up with some titties? No, I'm sorry. I'm just busting.
No, for sure. That's exactly right. I mean,
yeah.
100%.
If you're listening to this guy's like pretty ripped right now. He's looking good. He's a good looking dude. He's sharp. He's got less of a chin than I do. But yeah.
I appreciate that.
Huh?
I said I appreciate that.
Yeah.
That's why. Because I never wanted that experience again. I never wanted to be made fun of in front of a group of people ever again. And so one way I knew I could eliminate that is not be fat again. Yeah. And so I went on a diet. I started exercising, and I was 12 years old, dude. Like we were like they didn't know anything about diet and exercise. My parents weren't healthy people. Like people weren't healthy then, right? This is like
Right.
25, 30 years ago. So, and I grew up in Mayberry and I had a really great childhood, truthfully, excluding that little incident there. But then things went sideways. When I was 18, well, by the time I was 21, I'd already gotten 2 DUIs, right? Back to back, like within 30 days of when I got my license. So fast forward a little bit, and this is probably one of the worst. Well, I forgot to tell you that I got sober in 2009.
Good for you.
Oh yeah, I hadn't got there yet. I'm ADHD, so I'm all over the place. Sorry.
No, good. You're cool, man.
So 2005 is where I was going to go. So 2005, I've been an entrepreneur, right? I was kind of a street pharmaceutical entrepreneur. And so I got caught, right? I got caught and almost went to prison. Fortunately, I didn't because I had a great lawyer. And
what were you selling, man? Allegedly.
Oh, cocaine, 4 ounces.
Oh, shit. How old were you?
Man, it was in 2005. So we're in 2000. I don't know. What was that? 17 years ago?
Yeah.
Almost. So I'm 44 now. So I don't know what the math is on that. Let's just call it 28 years old or something. I was, it was, dude, I really didn't know what was going to happen because that was it. I mean, I was on probation at the time. And my probation officer said, he's never going to change. She knew I was still doing things I wasn't supposed to be doing.
Right.
But what happened is I went through this program that they put me in, and it was successful. And then I successfully completed the probation. And this is I guess you could call it the hero side of it.
Mm-hmm.
I hadn't picked up a drink since 2009 because I had this thing it's called a ignition interlock thing in my car. And it was there for 7 years.
Yep.
Yeah, dude. Oh, well, it gave me the ability to drive. So I'm okay looking like an idiot for the next 7 years if I can drive.
Dang, that's a long time.
It's a long time.
That's a long time. But I'm with you. I'm with you on it. I would do it if I could drive. Like if that was an issue. But like, I gotta crack a joke here. I seen like TikToks of people. They're like going out on the first date, and they're like, "What's that over there?" They start.
And I went to first dates with this thing.
Yeah.
Oh, the bank. Man. Like the first time I went through the bank line, I'm talking to Sally at the bank line in the window, and that thing blows up and goes off. It is mortifying because you don't have any choice but to blow into it. It's so loud, like everybody hears it. Anyhow, so I got sober in AA, and this is this sometimes is a very unpopular conversation what I'm getting ready to get into because I have a skewed view on Alcoholics Anonymous because I went to Alcoholics Anonymous and it served its purpose for the time that I was there. But then I realized, and you'll understand this, I think, the 2 most powerful words in the English dictionary are I am. So if I say I am fat, most likely I'm going to wind up that way. Or if I say I am broke, whatever it is, after that, you speak that shit into existence. And so what I realized is I was standing up every single day saying, I am an alcoholic. And I'm like, wait a minute.
Yes.
What the hell is going on here?
I completely agree with you. I think about that all the time with like AA. I'm like, are you kidding me? You're getting people to go up there and to claim that's their identity. But you know what it is? It's changing their identity to someone. I am someone who enjoys going out and drinking and having fun, to I am an alcoholic who can't go and do that anymore. And it does its job, but what does it do to your psyche when you're claiming that,
What do you think the success rate in AA is?
Probably, I don't know. My guess is probably not very good. I would say below 50%.
7% success rate.
No way. Wow.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know about you, but I wouldn't roll up to a poker table knowing I've got 93% chance of losing.
Nope. No, I wouldn't.
Right. So, I mean, this all just really came into fruition for me. And I'm like, holy cow, what am I doing? Like, this was, I was 6 years into my sobriety. And I'm like, this is all absolutely true. Like, how am I saying I'm still an alcoholic? I haven't drank 6 years. This is ridiculous. And I haven't had a drink since I stopped going that day when I realized this. Mm-hmm. It never really felt right. For me, it never felt right. But, I think it works for
for a lot of people.
Sure.
And I think it serves its purpose. I really do. I'm not here bashing it, but guess what? You don't really have too many choices either. Like AA is about the only choice.
Right. And I like, I love what you said about, like, I mean, the two most powerful words in the English language is I am. Even you go back to the Bible and when God is telling everyone his name, or telling, I forget who it was on the mountain, but he's telling them his name. He says, Yahweh, which means I am that I am. Like, how much more powerful is that, And it comes down to like identity, right?
100%.
Yeah. And
we like that. We like to be, everybody wants to identify as something, or be a part of something, a community or a group or whatever it is. And so I've struggled with that because I get along with a lot of different people, and I've worked in a bunch of different industries doing the same thing that I do. And here's where the identity crisis happened for me. I'm actually really glad you brought that up. This just happened 2 weeks ago. It's been happening for the last year and a half. I've worked with multiple companies. Now, most of them have been in the trades, but I've worked with consultants all over the world with the same process, right? So my identity is like, well, who am I? Because I can work with a lot of different people. And so what I've realized, and where this is going, like, you can't be everything to everybody because you are nobody to everybody. And so even though in the other identity lie that I sold myself was, I can't be a guy for the trades because I'm not a tradesman. I'm not a plumber. Well, they don't need me to be a plumber. They need me to be the sales guy. They're the plumbers, right?
Right.
But I didn't get that. For whatever reason, I felt like I needed to understand the industry inside and out before I could tap into it. And I'm like, well, you've been doing this for 2 years, dude, or longer than that. Meaning, like, working directly with people in the trades, probably 2.5 years. And so I have a ton of experience with it. I know the problems in the business. I've interviewed hundreds of these guys.
Right.
So it's silly for me not to plant my flag there. And so that's why I brought up the trade school, because that's where I planted my flag, and that's the group that I'm starting.
That's awesome, man. And you just decided, made a decision, and you're going for it. And you're gonna have like a course or community on there and stuff like that. Is that right? Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So it's just gonna be it's gonna be very much so like I'm a part of the Lions Den, and very much so part of that, right? We meet once a week. Sean comes on and talks. It's gonna be very similar layout.
What's the Lions Den, man? Should I be a part of this? What is this?
I don't know. It's definitely, I don't know where you fall the political spectrum, nor am I asking. And I don't really care, right? I really don't care which way you fall, personally.
Yeah. I like getting into this shit on the podcast. I like stuff that's polarizing. So let's get into it if you want to.
Well, then you'll get it. Yeah, well, then you'll love this because, Lions Not Sheep is his brand. You can do the math on who that stands for.
Sure.
And if you can't do the math, I'll happily tell you. He's primarily Republicans in that group. And listen, again, let me be clear. I'll be clear about two things. I have always voted Republican, but do I believe and do I stand for everything that Republicans stand for? Hell no. Right. Do I believe everything that Democrats stand for? Hell no. I just side with Republicans a little bit more than I do Democrats. Mm-hmm. So that's the way I vote. And so I don't have any shame in that, right? I mean, I don't think anybody, I don't know, dude. This whole political stuff right now, I don't even get into it anymore because, like, it's such a cluster, dude. It's like we're watching a play in fucking New York.
What's really funny is, like, I tell people I fucking hate the Republicans, but I hate the Democrats too. And I do that in a group of whoever I know I'm with. But I say the first one that I know everyone like is like, if everyone's a Democrat, I'll be like, I fucking hate Democrats. And then they'll be like, what? And I'm like, and I hate Republicans too. You guys are fucking stupid. Like, it's crazy. Like, just an example, like, I fall so in the mix of everything. Like, dude, I'm pro-life. I don't think you should kill babies. I don't think that the government should be able to tell us whether or not women should be able to do something with their body.
Nope.
Like,
I agree.
I don't think anyone should be able to make that decision.
No.
Like, But what I think is right is that what I think is right. But like, I don't think anyone should have a right to be saying you can't do that shit. You know, in my opinion, like especially a government, especially like a body like of people who are supposed to represent. Like that's BS, man. Same thing like gay marriage, all this shit. And, you know, you ever love whoever the hell you want to love. I got no problem with that type of stuff. But I don't want my 7-year-old or my 5-year-old going to school and learning about how people are cutting their dick off and becoming a woman. I think that she's 5 years old. Like, let's let her learn her ABCs and how to color in between the lines first. You know what I mean? Like
yes.
You
I want to jump in on that because I'm probably getting ready to really get passionate because yesterday we were driving back from Florida, from Orlando, where I told you we were at Podfest and everything. And we go into a Starbucks, or my wife goes into a Starbucks. I was sitting outside and she walks back out. She was like, there's bathrooms don't have names on them. I'm like, what the hell does that mean? Like, what does that mean? And she was like, they're gender neutral. There's no names on them. I had to go in and pee after a dude. And I went, do these corporations not realize how fucking stupid that decision is? Because what you're doing is you're shitting on, because guess what? I'm a dude. I can say this. Do dudes piss all over the bathroom? Yeah, we do.
We do. We do.
And so guess what? I don't want my wife to have to sit down in your piss.
Yeah.
And that's what's going to happen because I have to do it if I forget to wipe it off. And it happens sometimes, right? Mm-hmm. It does happen.
Oh, it definitely happens. It definitely happens. Yeah. That's interesting. But yeah, I mean, to be honest with you, normally I would say I don't care. And honestly, I really don't care. It's public bathrooms, do what the hell you want. But you make a good point, man. I'm also not a girl. I tell you what, it doesn't affect me too much.
True.
So I don't, I don't really have too much of an opinion.
Well, what about your little girl going into a bathroom?
Oh, hell yeah, I got an opinion about that.
So now,
Yeah.
The same
I have a hard time. Right? I have a hard time when I'm with her alone and I have to bring her into the men's bathroom so she's pee. I'm like, stare at the wall, stare at the wall, stare at the wall.
Yes.
Like, you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Go in the corner, and then God forbid I have to use the bathroom and I'm alone with her and I'm not gonna leave her out. You know what I mean? No, she's coming in there with me and she's gonna face over there and don't look at anyone else. It's at a real public bathroom, like a Target that's wide open. It's an issue. It's not. No, you're right. You're absolutely right. My daughter shouldn't have to worry about seeing a grown man's junk. It's just not something you should have to worry about as a 5-year-old.
No.
No.
Bad stuff's going to come from this, dude. Bad stuff's going to come from it. I don't care what anybody says.
No, yeah.
We're talking about a minute part of the population, bro. We're not even talking about, I don't know what the percentage is, but I know that it is minute compared to the rest of the population. So why are we doing this?
Well, at the same time, dude, if you're honestly, I don't care what people do. I'm like, if you want to be transgender, be transgender. I don't care. Do whatever the heck you want. I have no problem with it at all. Not even a little bit. I'll hang out with you, chill with you, talk to you, treat you like every other person I talk to. No big deal at all. But if you're a man becoming a woman, or I don't know what the politically correct thing is to do. I'm even the type of person where I don't particularly want to hurt your feelings. If I knew what to say, I probably would call you the thing that you want to be called. I have no problem doing that either. I just don't want to hurt your feelings. I don't want to hurt anyone's feelings. But if you do look like a woman and you're go in the women's bathroom, man, close the stall and sit down. I don't really don't. Why does that have to become this whole fuss about everything? And I don't know. But
here's the other thing. Okay, this is pretty polarizing as well. Think about this. You hear Morgan Freeman talk about this all the time. Every time Black history.
Yeah. He says, right? You gotta stop talking about it.
We gotta stop talking about it. Stop singling us out. So guess what's going to happen in about 5 years? We're going to have the same conversation with the people that are being singled out now, that want to be singled out now. Mm-hmm. Because in 5 years, it's going to be, well, we're singled out. We're the ones being, I'm just guessing.
Yeah. Well, let's go back. So I know what you're talking about. I don't know if the listeners know what you're talking about. So Morgan Freeman goes on and he says, You want to end racism? I'll tell you how to end racism. Stop talking about race. Stop talking about racism. Stop talking about it. It will go away. And he makes a real valid point. You should look up the video. It's pretty famous if you haven't already seen it. But there's another side to this too. I have a lot of friends that are homosexual, and I have employees that are homosexual and stuff. And they, no one should like anyone. Like I am strongly like, so weird. Like I'm really against like anyone having to feel like they should, like there's people out there that feel like they shouldn't be alive because they can't be who they are to their friends, family, or whatever, especially like growing up and stuff like that. I think someone I knew posted something on Instagram. If I can find it, man.
And that's sad.
It's sad. Like, why does no one should have to live like that?
No, they shouldn't.
You know what I mean? Like that. So it's just like, it's polarizing. Not everyone's going to agree with any of this shit, like all the stuff we're saying, but I fall so far in between so many different things, I'm like, guns. This is, dude, after the shooting, dude, I'm going to be probably ostrich. This may be suppressors. I don't know, something. Terrible. The worst thing that could have ever happened. I have kids. I have people that are so loud that don't have kids. They don't even understand. They don't even understand the way this hits, that you have to be worried about that when you send your kid off to school. Yeah. They don't even get it. I still support the right for the Second Amendment. And I don't know what the solution is, but at least I can admit it. I think all these people are making up solutions like they know what the heck to do. It's a terrible situation. And I don't think many people have a really, really good answer for it. I don't think anyone really does.
I think you're right.
But like, they're forgetting the point of the Second Amendment. That stuff was because when we built this country, there's another country controlling us, and we had to fight them off.
Right.
They didn't want that to happen to us again. And I tell you what, I mean, I don't know. I think a lot of people are against, like, who are for gun control. They should go spend some time in countries that they're getting. Like, I had this guy on here, Rocky Zapata, yesterday. He was on the podcast. He was from Nicaragua. Every 2 weeks, his family, not himself, his family got half a bar of soap and half a pound of rice to live on. Back in the 80s in Nicaragua. And it was from government controlling and taking away rights of people. Like that's what it's there for, And I'm also at the same time, I'm like, dude, maybe we should have some like mental illness checks that are a little bit more stringent. Because you know what? Even if I'm going to get my gun, if you want to do a little bit more digging on my mental health, I kind of understand.
Yeah,
I kind of get it. I don't know. This stuff's polarizing. I appreciate you digging into it with me. I don't get a lot of time to get on my soapbox about this stuff, but.
Well, it's really important though, because it's, you're right about gun control. And it's interesting because I don't think, because of the media, which I believe is literally the reason this country is in the shape that it's in. If you listen to the media, they don't talk about any of that. They don't talk about anything that's factual. At least I haven't found an outlet that does.
Yeah, well, like, I think what it does is it stops other Americans from having conversations with each other. Is what it's like meant to do. Like, because like I didn't know if you were going to agree with me or not, so I'm afraid to speak my point because I think you're thinking like the media or one side or the other. So I don't want to step on your toe. But we should all be having conversations to realize that we all kind of stand on the same ground here. We all, at some point or another. I remember, dude, I went to school for music. I was a super, super liberal dude and stuff. And I went and moved into a duplex, and the guy downstairs in the Army, the most right-wing dude, he's got guns, shotguns, and shooting stuff, drinking Pabst Blue Ribbon in the backyard, having a fire. Like, like the most right wing and most left wing going on. And then we're sitting in the backyard having a fire, drinking beers and talking about most divisive issues. And we found out we agreed on this stuff after talking long enough.
You're right. But human to human interaction is not happening as much now. And because of social media, we're separated from reality. And the reality is, like, most of us like each other. I don't give a shit what color you are or hit you screw. I don't care.
No.
If you don't infringe if you don't infringe on what I'm doing every day, I don't really give a shit what you do.
That's it.
That's it.
That's it.
Simple. I mean, I don't think it's rocket science, but it sure feels that way.
Yeah, it is. It is. You're right, though. I think you're dead right when it comes to the media. It's meant to divide. It makes a lot of sense, right? If you were rich and powerful and you didn't want to stop being rich and powerful or have a threat of your riches and your power being taken away from you, and all you had to do was make sure that the people below that weren't rich and powerful didn't do anything to take it away, this is the way you do it.
So I'm going to go a little bit deeper with you. All right.
Split it up. Yeah, go ahead.
So check this out. So think about this. Now, think about just the credit score system, right? If you got let's just say you got a 500 credit score, you ain't getting a credit card. Or if you do get a credit card, it's going to be prepaid. Let's say you move up to a 600, you're probably in the for sure prepaid category. Let's say you move into 700, you probably got a decent credit card, a few $1,000s on it. You get into the 800s, you can have whatever you want, right?
Whatever you want. That's it.
So think about that. Now, where does that keep people? That keeps people right where they are.
That's
right where they are, right? Because the interest rates are high enough for the people that they're going to stay in the middle, or they might slip to the bottom because the interest rates are high enough. But typically they don't ever go past that because they're getting beat down by interest rates, so on and so forth. And it's constant, right? And then and if you look at that, if you disassociate from everything for a moment and look at it like that, it's like, damn, dude, they have this thing figured out. They have it figured out.
Want to hear something else? It's wild. It goes right with it. I used to be on food stamps. I used to have my child's daycare paid for by the state. Every government assistance that I could have had, I had. I had my kid at 22. I was working at Subway, and I worked at Dunkin', and I got a job waiting tables eventually. At some point, I started making too much money waiting tables, right? And the money that I lost in assistance was like, I think I'm trying to find out like a real, imagine like you're making $1,000 a month and they're giving you $1,000 a month free to live, right? Now you go up to $1,200 a month and you make too much money now. So they take away your $1,000 a month.
What are you going to do?
What are you going to do? Are you going to go back to making $1,000 a month so you get the 1,000 back? Or are you going to be like, oh, I can make the 1,200 now. That's what happens.
Mm-hmm.
There's no weaning off. There's no nothing. It's like you lose it right then and there. Then you got to figure out, how do I mad dash to go make enough money to support my family quick enough to go and do it. But I think there's a very scarcity way of thinking. I would highly suggest people stay away from thinking about all the problems that they have in front of them, or thinking about how little money they have, or how low their credit score is, or like that they're being stuck. I hate victim mindset, right? Yes, it is designed to be that way 100%, but everyone's got the power to get out of it. I did it. You can do it too. Absolutely. Everyone can do it. Worry about how much more income do I need to make? How do I make that income? Not, oh no, all these things are happening to me. I have a high interest rate. When I try and get off food stamps, I lose all this money. No. You have to go and figure out, how do I get that money that I don't have now? And then your brain is literally wired to figure out how to solve those problems.
That's right.
Everyone's got the same hardware.
That's right. It takes the first step. from us, right? You have to take the first step, because if you don't take the first step, you're not giving the mind any direction to go. You're not, you know what I mean? Like you have to be able to say, I'm willing to fail.
Yep. Yeah. And then what? You're back where you are?
Right.
Like, come on.
Lost anything. Right.
You know, Brad Lee says the best thing in the world. Like, this is my favorite thing, right? He's like, all right, I got 2 pens in my hand, right? But I really want the pen that's right down here. We're like, all right, then you got to let go of this pen to go and grab that pen. But I need this pen. I need it to write. It's like, well, you just told me you didn't want it. You said you want that pen. You got to let it go. You got to like risk failing. You got to risk losing this pen so that you can pick up this one over here. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's so true. So true. You got to and then what? If you lose it, it's something you didn't want in the first place.
That's right. And here's the crazy part. Now, this is going to hit home for a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes, and I bet you've experienced this, sometimes I would rather, and I'm just being completely transparent with you. There are times that I make the decision, I would rather not win than fail. And that's really humble. That's really hard for me to even admit that.
What do you mean?
But,
what do you mean, man?
So the fear of, let's just take sales, for example, and let's say that I'm pitching a $500,000 deal and I'm scared to death I'm not going to get it. Rather sabotage it and feel like they didn't make the decision than actually find out the decision. Now, this doesn't happen all the time, but what I'm saying is this is where most people's brains go, is they would rather just not even make the attempt than fail.
Yep. Yeah. Exactly. And I think it comes down like, what are they worried about other people thinking of them?
That's right.
What do they worry about them? It's not even what they think about themselves, because they already don't think too highly about themselves. You know what I'm saying? Because like even with this podcast, man, I wanted to do this podcast for like years. And I was worried about all my friends that I used to work with at Red Robin or whatever I used to hang out with. What are they going to say? Keaton thinks he's too good. Or like even starting my business. When I started my business, everyone's going to, and they did talk shit. By the way, it's not wrong. They do talk shit. It's like being able to, like, it's okay. Who cares? Who cares? I like the saying, the loudest boos come from the cheapest seats.
Yeah. They weren't going to buy your shit anyway.
They ain't going to buy it anyway. That's it. That's right. Exactly. And, you know, I remember going to people making my first sale. I'm like, oh, I'm at $400 a month now. I'm at $600 a month. They're like, well, that ain't going to last. That ain't going to last. Dude, I made 20 grand last week. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
guess what?
That was 2 years ago. You know?
And they're still stuck at Red Robin, aren't they?
That's it. They're a manager at Red Robin, making $50K a year, hoping then they can get their 2 weeks vacation approved and with shitty benefits. You know what I mean?
Sounds rough.
Yeah, it sounds terrible. And they're making fun of me because I was trying to do something. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But people will say the stuff, but you got to not care. Like, but that's what stopped me from doing this. That's what stopped me from trying to put content out on social media. Like, what are all these people going to say? What are they going to say? I'm worried about, and then, you know what? I still did care, but I went and I did it anyway. And I found that the more and more I did it, the less and less I gave a shit what anyone thought.
Yeah.
I don't care. Like,
you know, it goes right back to your practice comment earlier. It's no different, right? It doesn't matter what you want to do in life. If you want to get good at it, you got to practice. Michael Jordan would shoot 1,000 free throws every single day when he was in the NBA. What makes you think you don't need to make cold calls or follow up or whatever it is you suck at? Like, come on, you got to practice.
That's it, bro. Dude, it's been awesome having you on this call, man. I don't think I've been this passionate about any of these episodes. So I'm pumped to have you on. This was a lot of fun.
I've enjoyed it.
Yeah, I've got 3 questions that I ask all my guests around this, like when it hits this mark. What's one book you would think everyone needs to read? Like,
think you know the answer to that.
Yep, say it. I know what it is. The Bible?
Nine simple.
Oh, you're shit. Everyone says the Bible. Everyone says the Bible, dude. You're the only one. Yeah, read his book. Just send me a DM. I'll send it to you. I don't know, it's $2. You guys just keep sending me DMs. I'll keep sending it out. Don't worry about it. As long you have to have the balls to ask. You know,
That's it.
Most people aren't going to ask. That's the other thing. I do that. Like I'll have 1,000 people listen to this, and they can get something for free, and they won't have the balls to ask me in a DM. You know what I'm saying? Do it. Just ask. Like, just send me a DM. I'll take care of it. You know. But yeah. So your book. That's so funny. I swear, everyone says the Bible is on here. But what about another one that's not yours? I like the confidence though. I like it.
Yeah, dude. Well, look, I believe my book will help anybody that's struggling in sales without a shadow of a doubt. I believe that with 1,000% confidence.
And whether or not you think you're selling, you're selling.
Yeah.
Right?
Everybody's a salesperson.
Everyone's a salesperson.
Absolutely. So the second book I would say has probably moved the needle for me the most. Oh, I would say it was probably, I hate to say Think and Grow Rich because it's frou-frou, but at the end of the day,
it's not.
That even though people have opinions about Think and Grow Rich, and this is my opinion on it. My opinion on it is it was exactly what I needed to get me where I am today. And that's the start, dude. That was the start for me. So that's the one I would say people need to read.
Yeah, it was eye-opening. It was eye-opening. I think it was really, really, really eye-opening. And I think I had like Rich Dad Poor Dad was a big one that like opened my eyes to like how you could look at money differently. Especially if you come from like a lower class family where you didn't have money, just to look at money differently. But like Think and Grow Rich, it's almost a bad title. I think it steers people like me and you. We've been around it so long, like we don't even think about it. But I remember when I first was looking at the book, I'm like, I'm not gonna read that. That's like, I don't need to know how to get rich. Like you start thinking about money's being bad and stuff. This is all mindset. All this stuff's mindset. It's all believing you can, and it's crazy. It's good. It's really good. If you haven't read it, you gotta read it. But you're right. It's exactly what you need. Then this one gets a little deep. Yeah, what's the biggest regret you have in your life? I think people can learn from regrets. I think people can learn. Like this is kind of how I try to live my life is like, if I'm on my deathbed, what regrets do I not want to have? You know what I'm saying? And I think like if you can help an 18-year-old or someone who's listening to this who's younger or who was in your shoes, stay away from that so they don't have to have that same regret, that'd be great for you and honorable for you to share.
I would say my biggest regret would be not starting things sooner, because I second guess myself with a lot of things. And we even mentioned this, I think, earlier on the show. I will, and a lot of the listeners will probably identify with this. It's almost like a seesaw in my head, right? And you might have one person, let's just for picture purposes, one person on one side of the seesaw and the other. And in my head, it feels like that seesaw is going back and forth. And so that seesaw goes back and forth for a period of time with indecision. And when I have indecision, I'm stuck. And when I'm stuck, I'm worthless. I can't do anything because I'm shut down. And so, but what happens is this ties right into the mind, and it ties right into our thoughts. Is if I would have just pulled the trigger on one of the decisions, I would have gotten there 10 times faster, whether I'd failed or whether I wouldn't have failed. But I wouldn't have wasted God knows how long deciding on whether I was going to fail or not. Either way, I still have the same chances of failing if I do it now or if I do it in 2 weeks. But if I do it now, I'm going to learn some lessons. I may win, but I may lose. But I've got to be willing to accept that and move forward and figure out what I did wrong. Like when I get off a sales call and I don't close it, it's not their fault. It's my fault. It's my fault because I didn't provide you the value to make a decision. It's my fault. And so my biggest regret's not making decisions faster.
Yeah, that's a good one, man. I'm not gonna even piggyback on top of it. I could, but that was good. Nice and clear, man. This other one's a scenario, right? You got to go back in time. You got to go back in time to any age, and you got to talk to yourself. But when you talk to yourself, you can only tell yourself three sentences, and then you disappear. then you're gone, right? What age would you go back to? And what are the 3 sentences you would say? And I'm strict about the sentences. It's not like I would say this and then I really mean this. No, like what are the 3 sentences? And then after you say the 3 sentences, you can decide whether or not you want to tell the listeners why you chose those 3 sentences.
Okay, so I would say I'd say going back to 12 years old would be the age. The sentence would be stop worrying about what other people say about you and focus on you. That would be the first sentence. Do I need to give you a different age for the second one or the same age?
I'd like to do the same age, as if you magically popped in there. You
Sure.
said 3 sentences and you disappeared. Yep.
The second one would be you're not going to be fat. And the third one would be you're going to be more successful than every one of these people that you think are successful now.
Good, man.
Those 3 things all came true. So,
Now, I've never done this before on the podcast, but if you are younger, you're listening, or whatever your age is now, like maybe you should think about what these 3 sentences are. You know, when my guests come on and they say them, what would your 3 sentences be? And how could you apply that to your life now? You know, there's a reason I've been asking it. I never pointed out why, but I'm like, I would love for an 18-year-old to be listening to this and hear someone say that and be like, wow, you know, that's what I need.
absolutely.
You know?
Yeah, because when you're in it, Keaton, when you're in that situation, let's say that 12-year-old situation for me, it feels like the whole world is crushing down on you. And the truth of the matter is we don't have a clue what the whole world is even like. And even 18 years old, we don't know.
Yep.
Dude, I don't care. If you're R18, you're probably rolling your eyes right now thinking, this guy's full of shit. I know everything. Because I thought the same exact thing when I was 18.
Yeah,
I mean, I would have thought, I would have been like, he's an
Yeah.
idiot. I know more than he does. Right.
Yep.
But, you know, it is what it is. And, you know, one other thing Bradley says is your ego is not your amigo. And so if you're 18, check that sentence because it'll do you a lot of good moving forward.
All right, man. Well, guys, everyone who's listening to this podcast, dude, if you stuck around this long, you listen to our bullshit, thank you. You know, you listen to us go back and forth on some definitely some divisive topics, and I really appreciate you sticking around. And if you would share this out, it would mean the world to me. If you would leave a review so we can go up higher on the ranks on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you're listening, subscribe to me on YouTube, all that stuff, I would truly appreciate it. It really does mean the world to me when people are subscribing and everything. And I hope it makes an impact. And I would love to get up on the ranks. We get more people like Corey on here, man. These and if you don't, go follow him. Go follow him. The links will be in the show notes and everything. Go follow this guy. He's got a whole library of social media stuff that's free, great advice. I went through it myself. In fact, Corey, just so you know, you got a present coming your way. What my team does is we do the subtitles with the emojis and stuff, everything that's happening with the reels. We made about 3 of them, I think, for you based on content you've already posted. It's coming your way.
Super cool, dude.
Yeah. And people, my clients are going viral like crazy. Either way, but you'll love it. His content's awesome. I've seen it because I've seen it being recorded and all that type of stuff. But yeah, go follow this guy. And dude, thank you again for being on the show, brother.
Yeah, thanks for having me, brother. I appreciate you.
100%, man.